Hi, everybody. My name is Dr. Victor Micheli, and I'm going to be your instructor in this Mat121 Intermediate Algebra course. I'm recording this video not only to say hello to you, but also to show you what can we expect during this semester. Okay? So anyway, welcome to Mat121 Intermediate College Algebra this summer in an online format. So this is an online course for credit class offering accelerated 8 weeks format. This course were taught in person. It would meet for 60 hours, what we cover in 60 weeks, and a student would typically spend an additional 8 hours per week studying. Okay, completing assignments and engaging with course materials outside the class. This is very important. It's not only the amount of time you're going to cover in while you are online, but you have to cover some extra time. Altogether, a student in this online version should plan to dedicate approximately 12 to 16 hours per week to keep up with the accelerated pace. And take this into account if you are not able to commit this amount of time consistently each week, you may want to reconsider your enrollment to ensure your success. Remember again, this is a summer course and you will have to face some challenges here. So the first one is this is a very fast pace. So the same content that we usually have in 16 weeks, you're going to have it in 8 weeks. So that means that more hours of work per week with a little room to fall behind. Also, you will have less time to absorb concepts. Math requires regular practice with tight schedules. There's less time to fully digest and master each topic. Also, another challenge is the heavy workload. So expect to study at least 2 hours a day. If you're not organized or trained procrastinate, it's very easy to fall behind. Try not to procrastinate, okay, and try to do everything on time. Another challenge, less flexibility if life happens. Remember, okay, a single miss a week due to illness, travel, personal issues with the family, with your ed, or whatever, can severely affect your progress. And this pace can be intense, and staying on the top of everything requires good time management and emotional resilience. Okay, so take into account those challenges you're going to have in this summer course. Remember, 16 weeks in only 8 weeks. Okay, my communication policy is try to go to Canvas, you know where the inbox is, okay, in this corner in Canvas. Okay, be sure to label all messages with Math 121 followed by a brief subject description. I will usually turn around as soon as possible, less than 24 hours, maybe in hours. Okay, and also it says here that except on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but I will also email you back those days. Okay, so don't worry about it. But again, if you're going to email me, let's say 11 p.m., I think you have to wait just a little more. Okay. The concourse syllabus, first of all, go to the concourse syllabus located at the top of the left corner, somewhere over here. And here in the concourse syllabus, you're going to have this presentation is a summary of the concourse syllabus. Here you're going to have is the concourse syllabus is your guide to this course and contain what you need to know about this course during this semester. Okay. So you can find here the course policy, rules, regulation, recommendation, recommended text, and a schedule of lessons. About recommended text, we're not going to use any specific text. Okay, we're going to use what we call open educational resources, and we're going to cover that later. What is really important in Canvas, you will have the schedule, the calendar for this course. I'm going to show you later. My advice is to go in Canvas in Module 0, find the calendar and print it. And put it in your wall or somewhere you can see it. You can have a time to see it. Attendance, students are expected to participate every week by assessing modules on Canvas, review the animated PowerPoint presentation. This is what I call animated PowerPoint presentations. So you're going to find in the lessons, the lectures in PowerPoint, and I'm going to show you later again how to use in a better way this PowerPoint presentation. So also in Canva, you will have support materials. You will have to check your understanding, which are some activities to practice and submitting, and all assignments, including discussion questions, quizzes, and exams. Attendance is based on active participation and submission of assignments. If you miss some of those assignments, let's say if you miss if at least two assignments or two absence are considered excessive and may lead to withdrawal from the course. Non-activity includes not logging into Canvas or not engaging with assignments or online sessions. If you have any kind of problem, please let me know as soon as possible. Okay. Course descriptions throughout the week. You will need to engage with readings. Okay, some kind of reading. You're going to find it in support materials. The PowerPoint presentation lectures. So in Canvas, you're going to find the lecture. This is example module 2 function review. And click here and the presentation will open. So notice again, click once at a time inside the slide to see the animations on the module lecture presentation. So once at a time in order to see the animation. Okay. Also, in the support material, you're going to have some videos. In Canvas, you're also going to have this is an example of the discussion questions. This is an example of the quizzes. And this is an example of the online exams. Okay. Course descriptions. This is about the course. This course examines linear functions, exponential functions, quadratic functions, power functions, rational functions, and radical functions, emphasizing in the graph their structural properties and application in modeling, analyzing, and interpreting real-world problems. Okay, so you will develop fluency in evaluating and solving functions, simplifying functions, factoring functions, polynomials, determining the domain and range, and using function notation accurately and consistent. And the most important thing is what is the meaning of that? Okay. Course structure. This course is divided in 4 units. Okay. Each unit has their own modules. For example, Unit 1, you will have the module 0, which is the welcome and general course. Then you will cover functional review, practical domain range, linear function, and linear relation. And when we finish Unit 1, we're going to have the first exam. When we finish Unit 2, the second exam, and so on. Okay? Be prepared because maybe one week you're going to have the Unit 1 exam, and next week we're going to cover some topics, and then in the same week we're going to have the Unit exam 2, and so on. Okay? About recommended text, we will use Canvas as a web-based third-party tool. Okay, in Canvas, we're gonna have access to the modules. We're gonna have access to the support materials, text and videos, and we're also gonna have access to the check your understanding for any module. Those are some activities for you to practice. And then, of course, you have in Canvas all the assignments you have to complete during the week. Anyway, when we finish this, we're going for some minutes to the Canvas page. Textbooks, we're not going to use any specific textbook. We're going to use what we call open educational resources that we're going to have some of them available in Canvas. But anyway, in this case here, I'd say that each module now includes page title support materials with the links to various open educational resources. But of course, you can use whatever you want to use. Remember, you have in your fingertips the biggest library in the whole world, which is the internet. Dealing with graphing calculator, you can use whatever calculator you can use, like this so-called dinosaur Texas Instrument 84, but the best of the best is using Desmos. Okay, so Desmos is available online on desmos.com, or you can download it in Google Play Store or in the Apple Store. But the point is here, the most important thing is that you have to know how to use your calculator. Desmos is the best of the best. And my advice, if you have some time available, go to some Desmos tutorials on internet. Okay? Assignments, very important. We will have four kind of assignments. The first one is the discussion questions. Weekly, you will have to participate in discussion questions for your own benefit. So it's something similar to this one. It's going to be like a problem where you have to solve that problem. In this section, you will be required to answer and respond to this question by by submitting substantive original post. What is a substantive original post? Something that tell me that you know how to solve this. Okay? So you will read, and then you will read the discussion post for your classmates, at least for two of your classmates, to get a sense of the variety of perspective and viewpoints on a particular topic, as well as to build a community and interaction for this course. So you will have to take some time to read at least two or three of your classmates and make an opinion about their work in a substantive original post. But a substantive original post or substantive original reply is not that you're going to say, hey, I love the way you solved this, so that is easy. No. Again, almost includes discussion questions. And we have a rubric to grade it. Substantive original post, 9 points. That means if you solve the problem, you will have 9 points. Remember, you have to show how do you solve the problems. It's not only that you're going to copy or paste, or you're going to have some help from, let's say, a, AI, and you're going to, no. Okay, you have to solve it step by step in a paper and show your work. That will give you 9 points. And then you have to reply in a substantive way to two of your peers. And that would be 3 points each for a total of 15 points in the discussion questions. What is now a substantive original post reply? That is what you are going to reply based in your peers' answers. Is something that shows clear understanding of the mathematical concept, something that provides an explanation, not just a simple statement. This is really important because some of you are going to have, let's say, 1 point for substantive reply. You're going to say, hey, I have to have at least 3 points. Yes, but if you don't cover the substantive post reply this way, you're not going to have the maximum point. So something that demonstrates deeper or broader things beyond textbooks wording, something that encourages further discussion and dialogue, includes relevant personal observation, something that connects idea to real world examples or current events. Here I wanted to show you an example of some previous week assignments. Look at this one. This is the Concourse syllabus quiz. We got 0 here. We have the maximum. Okay. We have also 0. We have 9. And look about the discussion questions. I have 9. What do you think this 9 is about? Maybe this student only solved the problem and didn't reply. So that's why he got 9 points. And this one, 11. Maybe he solved the problem and not so good 2P replies. Each reply was 1 point only. Here's 0, but we also have 15. So 9 points for solving the problem and 3 points for a peer reply, a substantive one, and 3 for the other one. Remember, what is a substantive peer reply? This. Anyway, you're going to find everything the Corpus syllabus. But anyway, let me show you some example of substantive peer reply. Okay. So this is an example about a function problem. So you're going to reply to Karen. I think that what Karen wants to say is that when we solve in a function, the goal is to find the value of the variable that makes the equation true. And this typically involve algebraic techniques like isolating the variable. So you can explain what to do if we're dealing with a linear function or with exponential functions. So once you have the solution, evaluating a function means that plugging and so. Another, hi Paul. I like how you clearly identify the exponential function using constant multiplicative rate of change instead of constant rate of change. Your explanation of the initial value growth factor was also accurate. I confirm function by checking that the ratio between outputs stay constant. So he is explaining here why this function is an exponential function because dealing with the outputs and the inputs. Okay. For instance, in economics, the domain could represent the different levels of productions and so on. So these three substantive replies make me understand that you understood the topics. Check these examples of non-substantive replies. It looks like we agree in most of the answer, but with you in the parts involving the average rate of change. I wasn't completely confirmed about how that piece was supposed to work. It is confusing. You are not only that understand this part. So nothing to say about any topic. Hi, thank you so much for posting the explanation of quadratic function. You helped me a lot. This is not a substantive reply. It doesn't say anything about the topic. I was a little confused during this assignment just because it's been a couple of years since it been in a school. So take your time in order to check those non-substantive fee replies. So try to avoid those problems and to get full grades in the discussion questions. Look at this one. I love how descriptive some of your answers are. We have a lot of the same answers. Great. I can sleep well now. Okay. So if you want your 15 points complete, so try to make good substantive replies. About assignments, you're going to have weekly quizzes again. This is an example of the quizzes online using Respondus Lockdown browser. Okay? If you don't know how to use Respondus Lockdown browser, you're going to have time in order to practice. Okay? So about the quizzes also, look at this example. I have 25, I have 45. This is an old example, okay? They have 60 points out of 100. Zero, no summation. And also, of course, we have 100. Okay? So about how do I grade the quiz? For example, if this question, okay, this question, the answer is 90 millions, okay? So the correct answer is 90, but because this is a million, that should be 90 millions. So if you write 90 millions instead of 90, I want to say, hey, don't worry, this is a typo issue, so I'm going to give you the full credit, okay? If this is a typo. If your answer is correct but has some kind of typo issue, do not worry, I will give you the full credit. Another part of grading the quizzes, okay, is that, for example, if the correct answer in this example is 7.4, and your answer was 1 million and something, is very different, is wrong, okay, I will give you the choice. I will give you the opportunity, sorry, to fix this problem. Okay, how? I'm going to give you the feedback. Okay, where did you make the mistake? Or you can find it by yourself. But the point is that if your answer is wrong, I give you the chance to fix it. So you can improve your understanding and earn full credit by correcting the missed question on paper, showing all your work, and explaining your mistake and the correct solution. So you're going to say, okay, so my answer was 1.3 million. So I made a mistake because in this case, it asked for solving a function, and what I did was evaluating a function. So my correct answer, show your work, is going to be this. So upload a complete photo or scan of the quiz uh, uh, before Saturday, 7 a.m. Okay, this is the message. This is a comment about how to solve this problem. This is the column for the additional comment, and here you're gonna find some paper clip. So here you can submit your correction, a picture, scan, or something. Okay. Assignment also, we're going to have unit exam. There will be 4 unit exam, and they will be taken using Respondus Lockdown browser. Okay, you want to check, you have Respondus Lockdown browser here. Okay, each one is comprehensive and will cover material from the previous unit. However, the bulk of the materials test will be from the most recent covered topics. Also, we're going to have the final exam. This is also important. There will be a cumulative final exam that must be taken in person. Again, in person at the Pecos campus. I know that some of you are going to say, okay, yes, I took this online course, so everything should be online, but no, okay? Everything is going to be online except the final exam that is going to be in person at the Pecos campus. If you go to the calendar, anyway, I'm going to email it to you again. You will know the day, the time, and the place. Okay, that would be announced. So contact me immediately if you foresee a conflict for this policy. Be sure to plan ahead. Any course you're going to take online in Chandler Gilbert Community College or any Maricopa College, the final exam should be taken in person. And I think other colleges do the same thing. Also, you're going to find in Canvas the check your understanding. Any module have their own check in understanding. Okay, those are some activities or exercises designed for you to practice. They are not going to be collected. If you want to be successful on the exams and quizzes, okay, it is your own benefit to work through the material. So check your understanding, you're going to find the activity. Also, you're going to find the solutions, just in case you're going to need it. My advice is try to solve it by yourself first, then you can check the solution, or also you will have the videos about how to solve it. Try to avoid procrastinations. Most of the assignments are due on Sunday, 11:30 p.m. So don't be like this guy over here. He's going to say, okay, it's Sunday, 11 p.m. I'm going to start 10 p.m. Sunday. But this lady here, I'll pace myself through the week. Okay. So all the assignments have a specific due date. Most of them are going to be Sunday. I think all of them are going to be Sunday, 11:30 p.m. No late. By 11:30 p.m. on Sunday, everything is going to be closed. So try not to ask me, can you open? Because I have some kind of problem in my with my boss, with my dog, with my car. Okay? Please try to avoid procrastination. Late assignments will have the minimum grade, which is 0. So procrastination, just don't do it. Grading, okay. We're gonna discussion question 10%, quizzes 10%, unit exam 12.5 each one for a 50%, and the final exam 30% for a total of 100%. Grading scale from A to F, okay. The minimum would be 69.5. From 69.5 to 79, it's going to be a C. Then we're going to have a B, and then we're going to have an A. If you have 69.7, yes, you're going to have a C, because maybe this is going to happen with some of you. Can you give me 1% for 69.5 and above? Okay, you're going to have a C, and so on. I hope you have more of you have B and A. And of course, required a computer skill. You have to know how to use the computer. Okay. Anyway, this presentation is going to be available in Canvas. Okay. So TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, and your cell phone is not going to be required here. Okay. Technology, you're going to need a computer with internet connection and also with a webcam. You have to know how to create PDF files, web browsers like Chrome, Firefox, Safari, okay. Access to Canvas, access to Desmos, access to Responder Lockdown browser that you have to follow the instruction in the module 0. Go in the module zero in Canvas step by step and take your time. Tips for college students. Okay, remember again, this presentation is available on Canvas. Okay, honesty and integrity, dealing with cheating and dealing with plagiarism. This is an example of plagiarism I had. This is one student. This was another student. If you have time to check all of this, both of them are the same. A polynomial progression model with degree 2, and you can read the same thing here. Of course, they was withdrawn from the course. Artificial intelligence. This is really also important. You can use artificial intelligence for your own good, okay, to practice, to solve some personal questions, but try not to do it to solve the quizzes or any exam. Okay, it could be punished. Okay, because maybe some remember the final exam is going to be 30% in person. And remember, you're going to have respondents look down browser in order to solve the quizzes. And use a respondent lockdown browser and have to see your face and your space. So I'm saying will trust you. Okay, withdrawing. You know that there's two kind of withdraw. You can initiate your withdrawing, or you can ask me to withdraw you. Remember also, you will have you can find in the syllabus the refund date, which is going to be next Monday, and then you will have uh, another deadline for the student to withdraw with a W. That will not affect your GPA. Remember also, you have access to the Learning Center, online tutoring, or in person in Pecos campus and also in William campus. Expectation of the instructor, I will endeavor to make this course meaningful for each of you. I will put effort, planning, engagement, and beneficial activities. Okay, so I try to do my best, and we can talk to each other by email, and I can answer all the questions you're gonna need. For you, stay engaged, manage your time, participate in actively in communications, ask if you have any issue. Okay. Final statement. Okay. After teaching Math 121 for several years, I come to recognize that the demands of the course combined with the responsibility of everyday life can range from challenging to overwhelming. Okay. And more about the syllabus. So the syllabus is intended to contain complete and accurate information. However, I reserve the right, and I will let you know if I'm going to modify the syllabus. Okay. You will be notified if I want to change something. So far, read the concourse syllabus for this course available on campus on Module 0 and answer all the concourse syllabus quiz for your first 20 points. And remember, math, you cannot learn math by just attending and watching the instructor lecture on Canvas and work problems. You must be actively involved in the learning process. If you're not going to be actively involved, try not to lose your money. Okay? So then you will have trouble learning and passing any math class if you are not actively involved in this process. And finally, I would say math is not an spectator sport. The only way to learn math is doing math. Okay, so let me see if we can go. Yes, this is Canvas. So for module 0, let's get started. So try to go to all those points. This is a welcome message. And then most of the same thing you found in this video is from here, okay? How to succeed, introduction, okay? To the resources, the discussion questions again, about the quizzes, about the building exam, about how to use Respondus or lockdown browser. Please go step by step over those points. The concurse calendar, as I said before, my advice is for you to go over here, print it. Okay, so you will know in advance what are we gonna have. Okay, so for example, the first week you have to cover module 0, which is welcome, and then the same week you have to cover module 1 and module 2. And here you have the assignments and the due date. Okay. And then you will have 3 assignments, the discussion question 0, the concourse syllabus quiz, and the quiz. And during that first week, again, you're going to start with Unit 1, Module 1. Here we have the Module 1, which deal with function review, terms, function notation, evaluation function, support materials, the Module 2. And then you will have the assignment for that week. Let's check this module 1 first. Okay, so here is what we're going to cover. And look, here's the PowerPoint presentation. So click over here. And remember, try one step at a time. So you can see the animation. One click, another click. Okay, this is self-playing. Okay, then another click, another click, another click. Then you're going to say, okay, quantity, variables, and constant. Okay, another click. What is a quantity? Okay, quantity, a characteristic, blah, 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 and so on. You see, step by step. Okay, so right now, this is everything so far I can have for you. So if you have any question, please let me know as soon as possible. Okay, so I hope you have a nice weekend anyway, and welcome. And I will be available when you need me. Okay, bye.